Hey, y'all. You've somehow happened upon the Fishing Business Podcast, where I'm your host, Angie Thompson. I'm excited about this week's guest for a couple of reasons. His name's David King, and he's the founder and owner of Mossback Fish Habitat, a company that makes artificial habitat that you put into a lake or pond that provides a place for fish to grow. One of the reasons I'm excited to introduce you is because David's a small business owner and he's an entrepreneur. And as I've said before, if you're trying to earn money through fishing, then you're an entrepreneur too. So there are things we can all learn from him. The other reason is that, y'all, he called me and asked to be on the podcast. Well, actually, his marketing director, Tracy, called me. But still, I've been doing this podcast for about 3 months now. And this is the first time someone I didn't know asked if they could be a guest. And I was thrilled. Well, I better tell that story the right way. David and I are friends on social media, and he saw something that I had posted about a personal story. And for some reason, he felt compelled that he should do something with me. So he told his marketing director, Tracy, he said, we ought to do something with Angie. So she took it upon herself to call me up. Actually, she messaged me through social media and said, hey, can I call you? And then she called me and she said, listen, I don't know what you're supposed to do, but David said he'd like to do something with you. So what do you think that could be? I had no idea either. So we just sort of brainstormed, and the natural thing seemed to be, let's do a podcast together. Well, the reason that I'm telling you all this is because when opportunities come along, you have to recognize the opportunity. And I want you all to remember that. I have no idea how this was going to go. I had no idea what we would talk about, really. I mean, I put some thought into it, but when she first called me, I was kind of like, I don't know, but I'm so glad that I took this chance and I took this opportunity to talk to David and to introduce you to him, because as you're going to see here, he's a really neat guy. And I think he has something to teach all of us, and I hope we all get a blessing from it. Are you ready for this? Here we go. So, David, you and I have never met in person. We've spoken on the phone a couple of times, right, and are friends on social media. Can you kind of start by just telling us about your company and what you do?
Well, we make artificial fish habitat, Angie, and we're located in Northwest Arkansas, up in the Springdale Town area, a beautiful part of our state. And so we manufacture and make artificial habitat for putting in lakes, ponds, hanging under boat docks. We do a lot of business with the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, a lot of private water management companies, Corps of Engineers, and just private dock owners and pond owners and things like that. So our product is made out of recycled PVC. It kind of resembles a dead tree, and it's a home for fish. They're always looking for a place to hide, and your trophy fish, ambush prey, and your little bait fish and fry need a place to hide. So that's what we do.
Okay, so now I know that most of the fishermen and anglers in our audience will understand exactly what a fish habitat is. But David, a lot of my friends and family watch too, and they may not really understand. So like, as if I'm from another planet, explain what your product is.
Angie, I get that within my own family too. So yes, I do. So fish habitat is anything that would be in a lake, a body of water for a fish to hide behind, get into, like your trophy fish. They are ambush predators, so they need somewhere to hide so they can easily catch a dinner, bait fish. And what habitat does is it provides that for your trophy fish. And then there's also a need for the little bait fish and fry. When they're hatched, if they don't have some place to go and hide, then they just immediately get eaten. And then there's no recruitment in your pond for those to grow up and reach an age to have their own little fry and stuff like that. And it's kind of a great analogy, Angie, is if you put a bass and a minnow in a glass bowl, that minnow would always be able to get away from the bass, because it's like playing tag on an empty parking lot. Yeah. Nobody can ever catch the other person because they can see you coming from so far. So,
that's right.
Yeah, so that's kind of a quick analogy of how fish habitat works.
And so what you do is you've created this artificial habitat that people can just drop off the end of their dock. I mean, where do people use it at? Because you obviously
Oh,
want to do it somewhere where you always know where it's at, right?
yes, exactly. You want to do that. We get some customers that call and go, "Hey, I have 3 feet of water under my boat dock. What can I buy?" Well, you're not going to have a lot of fish in 3 feet of water. And I love to sell products, but I'm also don't want to sell something to somebody that's not going to work. So
Yeah.
we want to work with our customers, find out what kind of water they have, the water depth, where their dock is, what their pond is like, and things like that. And we have so many different products, Angie, that we can help them create the perfect habitat for whatever their circumstance may be. So.
Okay, so now I got to ask this, and you don't have to give me specifics, but is this a big business? Are there a lot of people out there that have access to private water where they can plant habitat?
There are millions and millions of small private bodies of water in the United States. It's incredible.
Wow.
On top of all the beautiful lakes that the U.S. has. I mean, but you just fly in an airplane, Angie, and if you like me, now I look for every body of water I can. So I just got to fly earlier in the week in a small private plane, so we weren't very high. We were flying to Hot Springs, and I just am like, I couldn't believe how many ponds and stuff there were. So yes, ma'am, they are everywhere, all over the United States.
So one of the reasons that I wanted to have David on the show today is because he's an entrepreneur. He's really kind of created his own business out of an idea that he had. He took it and he built it and he made it really big. So as I tell you guys, when you're listening to this, if you're trying to earn money as a professional angler on a tournament as a tournament angler or anything else, you're an entrepreneur, and David's an entrepreneur. So David, can you talk a little bit about the entrepreneur journey and how you came up with an idea and made a business out of it?
Yes, ma'am. I would be glad to. So I grew up fishing at a very young age. Not only did I have my dad loved to fish, but my mom, she loved to fish. And she took us when my dad had to work. I mean, she would take us out every time. We were fortunate enough to grow up on a lake, and my mom taught me a lot about fishing, and my grandfather took me fishing. And I grew up on a lake, so I just had that passion for fishing, Angie. And then when I got to after college and I got to move out to the lake where I used to live growing up, all the habitat was gone. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how I got into the fishing side of it. But I had this idea for a product, not to really get into it to sell. I wanted something that worked. And mm-hmm. I knew what all was on the market. And I just had this idea to create something that would hold sediment and grow algae. And so I took that, and that was my idea. And I presented that to my parents, actually, and said, I have this idea, and I'm giving away these units to these people, and they're telling me how great they work. And my mom was just a brilliant mind about creating and doing things, and she had a lot of ideas, and she just was never able to follow through. And she just said, David, go for it. Take it and go for it. You've done your homework. You got a great product. You know it works, and you've studied. Don't be scared. Just go do it. So that is my thing about, telling people that want to have an idea, and just if you've done some homework and you know it's a good idea and you know what the market is and things like that, go do it. If you're a professional fisherman and you know you have the personality, you're going to have a platform, go do it and try it and see, especially when you're young, Angie. I mean, you can go and do it. Yeah, exactly. I hope that answered your question.
No, I love that. I think that's great. And then what? So what was you haven't always done this. What has your career been like?
I got in sales at a very, very young age for a company.
Sales. It's the key word that we talk about all the time, sales.
Yes, I started that when I was very young. I'm not going to say how young, but I got an incredible opportunity with a company out of Little Rock, selling products in the industrial industry, and I absolutely loved it. They always tell you when you find that thing that you were meant to do and be in that world, it won't even be like work. And I just loved it. I got to be in front of people, a lot of different people. And I am a problem solver, Angie. So I got to go out and meet customers, and they had needs, and they're like, hey, can you help us solve this? And it was my niche. So for a long time, that's what I've done is industrial kind of sales and working with customers and solving issues like that. So that's kind of my background. And so when the fishing deal came along and I got into that, it's kind of the same thing. I'm selling and helping customers solve a problem and taking great care of them.
Well, I really love that you said that because I think I always say we're all in sales, no matter if you have the title of sales in your role officially or not. Everybody's in sales. Mamas and daddies at home are in sales.
Right.
Writers are in sales. Artists are in sales. Everybody's trying to convince somebody of something, right?
That's right.
And really, sales is just solving a problem and knowing your product really well, don't you think?
It is, and it's taking care of people.
Oh my gosh, totally.
That is I think that's where so many people get into that. And I got to see that. My grandfather owned a small restaurant. My dad owned a private business in Little Rock, and I just got to see them take incredible care of their customers and know everything about their customers. If their birthdays, anniversaries, if they had a sick relative and things like that. And that was instilled in me at a young age. And I try to do that every day. I love to get to know the customers because they become family to me.
Right. Absolutely. I love that. Okay. We're going to take a quick break right here and come back. We got lots more to talk to David about. We're going to talk to him more about how he uses anglers and his thoughts and ideas around how anglers can become better entrepreneurs and better businessmen. So we'll be right back on the Fishing Business Podcast. I really want to hear from you to know what kind of questions you have and how I can serve you best in this podcast. The easiest place to reach me is probably at Facebook or Instagram, where you can find me as Fishing Business Podcast, or on YouTube, but you'll have to search for me there by typing in Fishing Business Podcast. Holla! All right, we're back on the Fishing Business Podcast with David King from Mossback. Is it Mossback Fish Habitat or Fishing Habitat?
Fish Habitat.
Fish Habitat. And your website is mossbackfishhabitat.com?
Yes.
All right. I want people to go look at it. I want to get one myself. So tell me this. What's been the driving force behind building your business?
Whatever I ever do, everybody will tell you, I go for the gusto. If I decide to do something, it's not 100%. It's not 110. It's probably 150 to 200%. So once I made my mind up to do it, Angie, I want to be the best. I want to have the best product. I want to have the best employees. I'm going to have the best customer service. And we are going to take care of our customers no matter what. And we're going to be the best at everything that we do. We're not just going to be in it to be in it. We want to be the best, and everybody that works here knows that as well.
Well, and that's great. And that's something that's advice that all of us can use, no matter if we own a business or if we're just trying to find a job in the outdoors industry, really taking that to heart and deciding if you're going to do something, really decide that you're going to be the best at it and do everything you can, all your homework and everything you can to be the best.
That's right. Yeah. And learn about the industry. Just learn about it, and we'll probably get into this later, but surround yourself with people that can help you fulfill your dreams. And your goals. That's important as well.
So important to be around the right people, and especially people that'll help you build your dreams, like you said, but also people who will lift you up and stay positive and not pull you down.
No, that's true, because you're going to have people out there that are going to badmouth you, say you're the type of person you're not, and talk about your product. You're never going to make everybody happy, Angie. It's impossible. But, you got to do, if somebody has an issue, something is going to happen. But I always look at it as, okay, that happened. let's focus. Please work with me on what I can do to fix the issue. And you see the type of company we are and the type of products we have, that we're standing behind that. And we're going to take care of you after the sale. I don't care if you buy one product. You're as important to me as if you bought 20 of them. And that's everybody that works for me knows that. And that is so important.
Well, I also know that your faith is really important to you. And so I have to think that that's, embedded in the culture there within your four walls. How does a small business control the culture of a company?
Well, Angie, like you said, you and I spoke the other day, and it came to light just right off the bat. Most people that talk to me, they get that sense pretty quick. I am who I am. I mean, I'll sit here and cry with you. I'll laugh with you. I'll hug you if you need it. And, that's just, I am who I am. I don't try to pretend to be somebody else. And I think that's huge. And everybody that works here knows my standards and what I believe in. And I actually have had people ask me, hey, if there's ever a job opening, we want to come to work for you because we believe in what you believe in. And people know that. And if they don't believe in that, Angie, then they know that's not where I need to be asking for a job or go to work. So it's really nice. I have a lot of people right now that said if I ever have openings, they want to come to work for us. And we actually just hired a new sales guy on the East Coast, and he was a customer. And I got to talk to him, and that's what he said. I want to come to work for you. And he has the same morals, the same standards. He's a hard worker. And it just was a great fit. So it's not that I just go around here preaching all the time. I try to I just believe in being a light, Angie. And that's what I try to be.
Well, I think that's what you are, for sure.
I try. Yeah. I'm not perfect. A lot of people watch this and go, well, I've seen him get mad. And, I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be, but I try to do things the right way, Angie.
That's right. I get that. So how important is marketing within the overall, everything that you've got that goes into building a business? How important is marketing?
I don't even know if there's a number. I mean, we have a full-time marketing person. She's a dear, sweet family friend of ours from North Little Rock, and that's all she does all day. It's that important that we have a full-time person that does that, because to keep up with all the social media, she also keeps up with all of our pro staff, and it is a full-time. I mean, Angie, she works 8 to 10, 12 hours a day just to try to stay on top of all that and make sure that, when somebody searches Mossback, that we pop up, and there's so many crazy games that go on in that marketing industry and Facebook and just all those things. I think she's afraid to tell me everything because it probably blows my mind.
She probably is.
She does a fantastic job as well as our whole team does in promoting.
Well, how do anglers, pro anglers or sponsored anglers, how do they fit into your business?
Well, we didn't have pro staff for a while, Angie. We did, and then we didn't. And then when Tracy came on board, she was really after me about doing that, because anglers are so important. You've got to have people using your product. You've got to have people telling about your product. And you also have to have people, Angie, telling other people about those things, but then the kind of company that Mossback is. Mm-hmm. And that's a huge thing, because we get calls all the time that go, hey, I hear great things about y'all. Then tell me about your product. So that makes my heart glad when I hear that. Yeah. It's just awesome. But we need those. We need them out on the front line. Here's the great thing about pro staff, Angie. Greg Bohannon is one of our guys up here in Springdale. Great, great guy. Just love him to death. But he is in so many places fishing FLW tournaments. And what would that cost me as a business owner to pack up and go to that when Greg is already there? And all these guys, we have some great crappie anglers, and they're at crappie tournaments, and some of our other bass guys, they're outgoing anyway. So, and let's support them, get them the products they need, get them all the material they need to talk about us when they're out and about, we can't go do that. We can't be in so many places. We need to be here making the product and filling orders and being customer service. And they're just a great arm for us. And you've got to have, Angie, so much content for social media, and that's where a lot of that comes from.
Right. Absolutely.
It's key. And we really just started that about a year ago, really building our pro staff, and kind of goes back to the same model. We're getting guys that go, hey, I hear what kind of people you are. I'm like-minded in that, and I'd like to be a part sometime if you have room. So we're
okay. So what do you look for when you're looking to hire somebody? What are you looking for?
I'm going to tell a quick story if I can. So when I first got in this business, I was at a trade show at a small bait shop, big bait shop, actually. I'm not going to say where it was. But Angie, there was a gentleman there, and he was dressed from head to toe in a company's logo. And this was a family event. And I sat there and heard that gentleman use absolutely foul language in front of families. And I was shocked. In fact, I even called the company. It bothered me that much.
Wow.
And I made up my mind at that time, I will never have a pro staff person out there that I ever have to worry about having a Mossback jersey on and that ever being an issue. So we're very careful. We get a lot of recommendations for our pro staff, and it's because of that has stuck with me. And I think that's the good Lord's protection of letting me see that early on. It broke my heart that was happening. But it also was a great example. Make sure that never happens with anybody that's affiliated with your company.
So how do you make sure?
A lot of it's word of mouth, and we talk to them. Tracy is very good. We don't get anybody that we don't, get recommendations from some other people that either fish with them, have worked with them, and things like that. So we're very picky about who we choose. I mean, we don't have that many pro staff, and
Tracy's your marketing director.
Tracy is our marketing and does the pro staff, and
so she manages the pro staff, and so
manages all that, and she talks to them daily. And
that's good.
And really, they know what to expect, and we have it in the contract. Mm-hmm. We get them to sign a contract for being a pro staff, and it's spelled out. This is what we expect and what you will do. And if we hear anything other than that, you're gone.
Right.
I won't put up with it. So I'm just not. Yeah. You spend your whole life, Angie, building a reputation, and you have to defend that and take care of that. And you just can't have people going around wearing your stuff, your logo and things that aren't going to feel that same way.
That's so true. And another thing that we talk about a lot at the Fishing Business School is that you have to develop your own brand in a way that another brand will trust you. Yes, and trust is so important because you are when you sponsor someone, you're trusting them with your brand that you built, that you put your blood, sweat, and tears into.
Right.
And so you've got to feel safe in trusting that baby of yours to them, because when they go out and face the public, they are the brand.
They are. There are many brands, but I'm worried about the Mossback brand, So
that's right.
But they are. And I think that is what is so important for these. One thing that we started, Tracy and I, we have a junior pro staff program, and we are taking young kids that are interested in fishing, and we make them a junior pro staff person, and we're trying to help them. They want to grow up. They have aspirations to professionally fish and things like that. And so we just started that recently, and we just have some of the
oh, that's great. I love it.
They're the same thing, but so we're trying to help them grow, and we want to be a huge part of their success. We want to grow the fishing industry, Angie. That's my passion, and that's my goal. I have a passion for single parents that are trying to find places to take their kids fishing. And so we've got some things like that we want to do beyond just providing habitat. We want to grow this industry that I was so blessed to be a part of, and it was ingrained in my life at a young age. I just have some great memories of fishing with my family.
Yeah.
Our little
Well, I
brown
tell you
street.
what, I think trying to provide a solution for single moms is huge and
Yes.
and such a great thing to do, because I see people all the time on the lakes. I see women by themselves on the shore with some kids trying to get them to catch a fish, and I'm like, oh, God bless you. You're probably not going to catch one right there. But she's just trying. She's just trying to get her kids out and
Exactly.
let them
Well,
catch.
how about you and I help you? Why don't you and I work on that with Tracy, and we'll get that going? So,
okay, you got a deal there.
I just have a passion. I was fortunate. I didn't grow up in a single home. I had incredible parents, and but I just have a passion for that.
Yeah.
Moms and single dads. There's a lot of single dads that I think too, and we're kind of getting off subject here, but I think a lot of them too, Angie, their kids come to them and ask hey, Dad, will you take me fishing? And they're like, I didn't grow up fishing. I'm kind of embarrassed.
100%.
I don't know how to tie a hook. So I think they
Yes.
get them off to something else that they know about.
100%. Do you know how bad, or not? I don't say bad is the right word, but it would be uncomfortable to be the dad that's supposed to know everything and have a child that wants to know about fishing, and you can't answer it. So of course you're going to say, why don't we go play football instead?
Or something,
or go play golf or something else.
Yeah. So we're looking at doing some things at Mossback to help with that. That I really have a passion and a dream for, just to help grow the industry. And
and I'll tell you, that's another thing that I try to encourage anglers to do in their social media. Everybody wants more content, but I think sometimes we tend to forget the beginner in our content. We assume that you're somebody that's trying to figure out the difference between a deep diving crankbait and a chatterbait, and forget that there's a lot of people out there that don't even know the difference between a crankbait and a chatterbait. And really they have no idea they just need to get help to get started.
Exactly. Yes. We want to start a fishing 101.
Yeah.
Where we just start with, this is how you tie a hook. For the lakes in our area or pond, this is what you need to fish with. And another thing that I want to do is I want to come up with a list of safe places that moms can take their kids and don't have to worry about their safety for the most part. This is a safe place to go fish publicly and things like that. What you can catch. So anyway,
I love that.
That's just it's in my heart, and I'm gonna make it happen some way.
Great,
so,
great. That's
anyway.
Awesome. Okay, so going back to sort of the entrepreneurial experience, talk a little bit about your mindset. How do you? And again, in thinking about, we're talking ultimately to young people out there, maybe not so young people that want careers in this industry. How do you control your mindset to be positive and to think you're going to be successful?
I tell people all the time, because I've been blessed. I get a lot of calls from people that say, hey, my friend knows about you and they haven't had an idea and they wanted me to call you. And I always tell them, well, I can tell you what not to do.
Yeah, right.
I've got that part down. So anyway, it's just, I don't want to fail. I mean, I don't, when you're in sales, it kind of goes back to that, Angie. When you're in sales, you get told no a lot. I don't accept no. I don't. If somebody tells me no, I'm going to figure out another way, another route to be a problem solver for them. So I think that is just, you got to look in the mirror every day and go, I know I'm going to be told no, but I'm not going to accept that.
How do you not take it personally?
You just, of course, when I was younger, I probably did more, but now I just understand that people are just going to be like that. You get a lot of people that they don't want change in their life. So if you've got a product and they've done something else a different way, some people don't want to change. So you just have to figure out something to get their attention.
Yeah.
I had a customer years ago that told me they didn't need any of my services. And I kept going back. And finally, one day I said, hey, is there any product that you just can't stand to buy? When it pops up on your desk, you're just like, oh, what am I going to do with this? And he looked at me and he said, yeah, I got a list right here on my desk. And he said, if you can get me these 10 items, keep them in stock, and don't let me run out, I'll see what else I can buy from you.
Ah.
It turned into my biggest account for years and years and years because of that. And so I didn't accept no, Angie, and never go back and see the guy. I kept going back, and then I finally asked the question, there's something that's got to bug you. And so that's the mindset you just have to have. Don't take no, just keep thinking and working. And I'll tell this quick story too. When I was young, the receptionist control a lot of the who gets past the door.
Yes.
So on Valentine's Day, one day I went to the florist and I loaded up a bunch of red roses, and I went to some of my clients that I'd been having trouble getting into the account. And I just walked in and I said, hey, I know I come in from time to time, and I just want to tell you happy Valentine's Day and thanks for talking to me. And when I come in, and it got me, the next time I went in, they were like, yes, I think he's available. So you just have to, I think you've got to think outside of the box.
Be creative.
Be creative. And that's just something that God has given me. I've been blessed with that, to just look at a circumstance and figure out a different way to do it, a better way to do it, or how to get around an obstacle and then just, Angie, focus on the positives instead of the negatives. That's the other thing. Just, you're going to have people. One of my favorite Bible characters is Nehemiah, when he went back to build the city. And he just had people telling him he was dumb, they were going to kill him, but he stayed focused, Angie. He never took his eye off of what his goal was. And that's it.
Yeah,
you can't get sidetracked by people, just nipping at your heels, because all they're trying to do is get you sidetracked. You stay focused on what you need to be doing, what your goal is when you first set out with your business. That's the first thing you got to do is, this is my product and these are my goals. And you don't let people get you sidetracked from that.
Agreed. 100%. That's great advice. Really great advice. Okay. So here's a question I like to ask people. If you had $1 million to spend on your business, how would you spend it?
I have to say, I would take some of it and take my wife on a nice vacation, because I'm a workaholic and I work all the time.
I bet she would deserve that.
She would deserve it. I mean, we go on a lot of vacations and they go to the beach and I sit there and work. So anyway, I don't know if I could write that off as a business expense, but I think it would be very important. But no, to really, it goes back to, like you were talking about, Angie, is marketing, stepping up the game. I would probably do some more pro staff things like that. And inventory it seems to be a big issue for a lot of companies. In our business, we are just having an incredible year. And that's, if I had that, those are just that's a few things I would do a lot more advertising, really build up my inventory, build my pro staff more, try to do more trade shows and things like that, just to get more exposure. And then
now, I'm curious, what kind of trade shows do you go to?
We go to like fisheries conferences, where like the Game and Fish Commissions will be, all the states, do have that. There's a big one coming up called Crappie Expo, which I'm really excited about, because there's a big push to try to get crappie fishing. Get it up to level more like the bass fishing is, and things like that. We've been to some of the Bassmasters things. BAS has a conservation group, and we've been to some of their meetings. We do some things with them. There's a lot of reservoir habitat agencies and things like that, and they have meetings just anywhere where they're talking about fishing.
I think you ought to go to farmers' conventions. Because so many people have farm ponds.
They do.
And that might be a new market for you.
Well, we went to a big one that was like that, and it was out on the West Coast, and little did we know they'd had a 3-year drought.
Oh, no.
That goes back to knowing your market,
Yeah,
they were all like, man, this is a great product, but I mean,
we got no water.
We got no water. We have no fish. So we learned a lot, but there's just, it's everywhere, Angie. And it's really just the need for fish habitat is really starting. People are really getting on board with how important it is if they want to have good fishing and manage their fisheries.
Okay, I'm going to show my ignorance here for just a minute, but I have my best friend just bought a lake house, and she has a really cool dock and grandkids. Can you just put a habitat in a lake, or do you have to get? It's not a core. It is. It is a hydroelectric lake. So would you have to get permission from the people who do the power there?
Most, like the Corps of Engineers uses our product. We have them in. If they're in Arkansas, we do all the lakes in Arkansas. A lot of times we just tell you to check with your check your local game rules, because a lot of the northern states, they're really picky about anything PVC or plastic. They just want natural wood. So you have some of that, but she should be able to put that under her dock.
Okay. I'm gonna tell her about it. Yeah. All right. Is there anything so far that I should have asked you, but I'm not smart enough to ask you?
Oh goodness, we've covered a lot of stuff, haven't we? I don't know. We've covered a lot. I think, the big thing, and I'm available, Angie, and I will talk to anybody too. So if you get anybody that watches this and they want to talk to me, I'm an open book. I will try to help in any way that I can. So feel free if somebody calls you to share my information. I want people to succeed. We live in an incredible country where an old country boy like me can take an idea and turn it into providing for his family and, 5 or 6 other families and things like that. I mean, I want to help people and help grow this industry. So.
Awesome. I love that about you. That's great. And, I'm sure there's a lot of people that will be listening to this today that will be so happy to hear that, because, it's always good to know that the people that work in this industry really care about this industry. And you certainly do.
I do. I mean, I'm an Arkansas guy. I grew up in Springdale. I moved to West Memphis when I was in junior high. I lived there for a short time, and then went to junior high and high school in North Little Rock, and just met some great people along the way. I love this state. I do. So if I can help the fisheries or do anything to help our state out, I'm all on board for that.
Well, and other states too, not just Arkansas. Right?
No, not just Arkansas. I'm an Arkansas boy. So we do business with a lot of other states. So.
Gotcha. Okay, we're going to take another quick break.
Okay.
We'll be right back on the Fishing Business Podcast. Hey, if you're enjoying this podcast, check out fishingbusinessschool.com, where you can see video uploads of the podcast, as well as my blog, where I give you more practical advice on the business side of fishing. fishingbusinessschool.com. Come see me over there. All right, we're back on the Fishing Business Podcast with David King from Mossback Fish Habitat. And David, at the very beginning of the show, you talked about your mom and you kind of got a little choked up. So I have to assume that your mom is no longer with us, but I bet she really inspired you a lot, just judging from your reaction.
We did. We are coming up on the 1-year anniversary of her
I'm sorry. I'm sorry you lost your mom. It's so hard
Yeah,
to lose the person that had the most faith in you.
yeah, she did.
That's really tough.
And she was my prayer warrior, Angie, too.
Ah, most
She's prayed,
mamas are.
yeah, she's prayed me through a lot of times when we were wondering how we were going to pay the bills or do
Yeah.
this and that. And I miss her. But yeah, we're just coming up in a few weeks on the 1 year anniversary. But, I know where she is. She was an incredible woman of faith. And so I just appreciate her. But
Yeah.
yeah, she did. I got to tell a quick funny story. So my mom loved to plastic worm fish.
Okay.
And she had an Ambassador 5000C. I can see it in her hand right now. And she always put her finger under the tip of the line. And she caught 10 times more fish than the rest of us. And I know it's because she could feel those fish. But if you ever were fishing in the boat, not paying attention, and you all of a sudden felt that boat lean to one side, you knew you better grab something because she would reel down to that water's edge. And I've never seen anybody set the hook as hard as my mom.
Oh, really?
Almost de-lip them. It was just, it was so fun. But so half of them she'd just send flying over the boat.
You bear down on them, huh?
Bear down on them. So thanks for letting me just share a quick moment.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, moms are usually our biggest cheerleaders.
They are.
Lucky and blessed to have them. All right. A couple quick questions before we go here. Rapid fire kind of questions. Okay. All right. First job.
I actually worked for a children's clothing store in North Little Rock that had multiple locations. And on Saturdays, I was their delivery driver.
Oh, that's great. I love that. You mean a clothing store delivered?
Well, they had multiple stores. So on Saturday, I would go and fill the van up and go to their Fort Smith store and all that.
I see. Oh, I bet you love that.
That was my first job, yes.
Okay, what's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear is, Angie, I have 5 people that work for me, and they all have families. And my biggest fear is not being able to just something where something would happen and we couldn't support them. That's the biggest thing about a business is it's not just your family. I've got other people that I employ, and they have families.
And they depend on you.
And they depend on me. And I've woken up a lot of nights, just like, okay, what are we going to do?
Okay, so how do you overcome that fear?
I put a lot of faith in the Lord, and I used to worry a lot about that, and then just I had one of those burning bush moments, if you would, and just realized that I was letting fear control a lot of things in my life, Angie, and I didn't need to. And I put my faith in the Lord to just get me through. He gave me an incredible idea for a product. He's helped me to grow that business for 10 years, and he's not going to let me fail.
Yeah.
And I find just incredible comfort and peace in that. And it took me a long time to see that. And I had some people that, said, hey, you sure are acting scared for somebody that has faith in the Lord. And I'm so thankful that those people, that's why you have mentors right there. You have people that'll say, hey, you're not acting right. You need to think about how your actions are. So I'm very thankful. So now I just know we're going to make it happen, Angie. We're going to get through it. We're going to figure out a way. I'm a problem solver. So
yes,
that's
love
what we do.
All right. Yeah. So what excites you and how do you lean into it?
Gosh, that's a good question. Cause I love doing fish habitat. I got to go on a big project soon, and it was just recently, and it was just so fun to see that. And even the people that were putting some stuff out, they had a little handicap dock there. And I asked, could we give a little extra product and you guys go put that around that little handicapped accessible thing? It's kind of like I was telling you, I have a passion not only for the fishing industry, but for helping just single moms, single dads, and things like that. I want this whole industry to grow. So those are the things that excite me, and I'm going to put a lot of energy in my efforts into making that try to grow.
Love that. Now, there's one more thing that I want to ask you before we go here. If and I know you said you've had a relationship with Greg, and he's kind of a local to your area, but I try to recommend to people that they go to people in their region or even their town to start when they're trying to build their partners.
Right.
What is it as a small business owner? What could someone come to you with? In the big picture, not specifics, but in the big picture, how could someone come to you and make you interested in being partners with them as an angler?
After watching this, if they called and said, "Hey, I saw the kind of company that you have. I could tell that what your beliefs are, what you're passionate about, and I have a lot of those same things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in an area where you're not being covered." And I think there's an incredible opportunity for me to share about Mossback fish habitat, and this is how I can do it.
Yes.
And
this is how I can do it.
This is how I can help you.
Mm-hmm.
That is what business owners are looking for, because you're getting calls all the time from people go, "I want to be pro staff. I want to do this. I want to do that." But there's nothing specific, Angie, that says this is how I can help you grow your brand and your product. And that would really be, because that's what we're looking for, Angie, as business owners, for help from pro staff people. Is we need their help. We do.
And I'm sure if someone came to you with some new and fresh ideas, you'd be like, "Boy, howdy, let's get together."
It is. I don't ever, Angie, I'm not doing everything the best that it can be done. I want to be, but I'm always looking for anybody that says, "Hey, David, have you thought about this?"
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even Tracy, when she and I were talking a while ago, she was like, "Well, that's one of the things that I appreciate about working for you. If I have an idea, you don't sit there and go, 'No, that'll never work.' You think about, hey, let's see if we can figure out let's see if we can make that happen." And then we figure out a way to do it.
Yeah.
Because if they come to me with an idea, I know they've put a lot of thought into it. So that would be my thing, is for pro staff to just research Mossback, see what you can find out about us, what areas we're selling, what agencies we're working with. And if there's not anybody in your area, come and go, "Hey, I have a connection here with this group. I think I can help you in this area, and let's talk and see."
I love that. I love that. Hey, David, thank you so much for taking the time today. I know you got a lot to do, and spending an hour with me is not probably high on your priority list.
No, I love it. This was fantastic. So, like I said, I really appreciate this, Angie. I'm so impressed with you and what you're doing and how you're trying to help grow the fishing industry. And I appreciate that so much. So
thank you. I appreciate you saying that, man. That's really nice. I do feel like I'm at the point in my life where I need to give back. And so, because this industry and this sport has been very, very good to me and gave me an incredible life. And I want to give back. I want to do my part now and give back.
Yes. Yeah. And you're right. And that's just that's a great thing to do. And when we do those things, we're blessed, and we just, get to meet some incredible lifelong friends. That's what I want.
Now, yeah, no kidding.
I'm like you, Angie. I'm at that. I want to give back, and I want to just get some incredible friends and family along the process of that.
Well, you've got a new friend in me, and I bet you've got a new friend in a lot of people that are watching this.
Well, I hope so.
I feel sure of it. But thank you again, and don't be surprised if I call you again and ask you to come back on the show.
Please do. And like I said, Angie, you get any calls, and there's some young people out there that have questions, I am always available to talk. Love to do that.
I'll pass it on.
All right. Thank you.
So at the beginning, I said I hoped we all got a blessing out of this conversation, and I hope you feel like you did, because I sure do. I loved connecting with David, and I want you to remember to always be open to connecting with others and work hard to be the kind of person who recognizes opportunities when they come along. I'm so glad we got the chance to get to know him better. All right, here's my 3 key takeaways from our conversation. Number 1, take the time to get to know your partners. Now, David talked about this in the context of his sales clients, but it's true of your sponsors, your partners, and even your fans. Take the time to find out what's important to them and how you can help them solve a problem. They'll love you forever if you do. Number 2, develop a reputation that brands can trust. Remember that story he told about the angler that talked ugly and he was so appalled by it? Remember, brands are trusting you with their hard work, their blood, sweat, and tears that they put into their company to build it, and they're putting it into your hands and letting you represent them. So really, this is so important. Develop a reputation that brands can trust. Number 3, be creative. Think of how to get around obstacles or sales objections. Don't hear the word no and think the game is over. Go the extra mile and do it creatively. Again, figure out how to solve a problem. That's it for today's visit, y'all. I say this every week, but it's really important. Please subscribe and review the podcast and share it. I mean, if you guys could share it, that's kind of support would mean so much to me. It really would. And I need all the help I can get to keep this little podcast going. All right, I'm going to sign off now by saying this is dedicated to Dad because he always had time to take me fishing. See you next time, y'all.